everyone. Welcome to another Open Cluster Management Community Meetings. Today we're very excited to have Dominic here present Clusteradm, the command line interface, or we're proposing this new command line interface. So without any delay, Dominic, please take it away. Thank you.
Hi, thank you, Mike. So we start an MVP for the Clusteradm command line interface, and here I will do a demo of it and what we think should be interesting to have as a command line. So, for the time being, we are thinking of adding the following command lines. First, an init command line that will install the control plan on the hub in order to be able to join cluster in that hub. So the first command will be clusteradmin init. So the second command will run on the cluster that we would like to join to the hub. And so it's a clusteradmin join, and we have to give the hub URL and a token in order to log in into the hub. And also a cluster name. This cluster name will be the name on the hub of that import of that cluster, the cluster that will join the hub. Then also we have an accept command, because when somebody runs the join to hub command from his cluster, of course, it will not automatically join. We need an approval to do that. And so an administrator on the hub will approve this join. And so the administrator can go on the hub and do a clusteradmin accept cluster and a list of cluster names that he wants to approve at once. And then we will, if you want to enable some plugins, some add-ons, sorry, on the managed cluster on the spoke, you can run the clusteradmin enable subscription. So, and we have also a last command, which is just clusteradmin version, which will display the CLI version and the cube version you are running on. So these are proposals. So I implement some of them. The commands are a bit different because it's an MVP, and so we had to take some shortcuts sometimes. But this is the proposal. So I don't know if you have any questions or remarks on this. Oh, okay, so then let's go to the demo. So the demo, it's a demo where I will deploy three kind clusters. One will be the hub, and two will be the spokes, C1 and C2. Then I will initialize the hub to running the clusteradmin init hub. It takes more or less 35 seconds on my laptop to do that. So I took a video and I shortened it a bit to make things easier. And then I will join the first cluster with the clusteradmin join hub and its name. The second cluster, the same with its name. Then I will wait that the CSR are coming up on the hub side. Once the CSR are there, I will accept cluster 1 and cluster 2 at once, and then we can check that the managed cluster is present and the two clusters are well onboarded on the hub. So let's go. Any question on this? So let's go to the demo. So you can see here I create a hub cluster. So a kind cluster, it is version cube 119. And here are the current namespace available. That are the default namespace on a kind cluster, an empty kind cluster. So let's roll it. And now I will go and I have also a C1 cluster. So I create this kind cluster, and these are the current namespace, and this is the C2 cluster. So I will join my, I will init the cluster admin. So this is done, and I have as answer the command I have to use on the managed cluster. We can see here I have the open cluster management namespace coming in, and we can see now I have also the open cluster management hub, and those two namespaces contains the operators that will take care about the onboarding of the hub. So I copy the command line, and I will run that command line on the C1 and on the C2, the second cluster. So it takes some time, and so it tells me which command I have to launch on the hub to accept that cluster. And we can see also that the agent has been created on the managed cluster on the spoke. So I come back on my hub, and I will wait for the CSR. So here the first CSR for C1 and the CSR for C2. So the reservation works and send CSR to the hub from the managed cluster. Now I will accept those two CSRs. This is done. And now I can check the managed cluster for those two clusters. And we can see here that the managed cluster is what's created for both of them, and they are joined and available. So this is the end of this demo. As you see, it's quite fast, quite easy to do. So the first step is to initialize your hub. The second step is for each cluster you want to onboard, you launch the Clusteradm join, and then you come back on the hub to approve those onboarding clusters by approving the CSR. So this CLI, so for the time being, it's an MVP. We have a repo which is not, so this development is on one of my fork, but we plan to push it on the upstream, and also so with some refactoring, but that is the main idea. I don't know if there is any questions or comments on this.
I think this is an excellent tool. As it was shown in the last community meeting when Min was presenting, it did took him a much longer time to get a bunch of clusters up and running. And with this new cluster admin tool, it seems to provide an easier way to quickly bootstrap the open cluster management and the control plane as well as the managed cluster up and running. So if there are any community feedbacks, please head over to the could you show our GitHub repo real quick? Please head over to the GitHub repo and provide some feedback. Thank you so much, guys.
Dominic, I have a question.
Please go ahead.
David, is it normal that we have the same requester for two different clusters? The CSR are the same requester.
It's
same.
two.
The requester looks the same.
No, it's C1 and C2.
Yeah, the requester.
The requester. Yeah, okay. Yes, it's the same because we use the same token. So we
use the same
the
kube
token.
config? Okay.
Yeah.
But I think you'd want to use two tokens, but the permission there is still limited to the ability to create a CSR, right?
Yeah, but that should be the service account that. Okay, my understanding. Maybe I'm wrong, but as far as I understand, that should be the service account that do the request, right? Okay, maybe I'm wrong.
We don't use service account for the time being. We are using a Bootstrap token. And so when we initialize the hub, we generate a
Bootstrap token is mapped on a user. Okay, we can take this offline. But
yes. No, the Bootstrap token is created as a CM in the Cube system. And so then after we generate some roles to this token, for this token, in order to generate everything that is needed.
Okay, I'm not sure. Anyway, okay, thanks, Dominic.
Okay.
We can take this offline. Okay.
But Dario, I think in general, what you're poking on is it's probably a better practice that you've got a service account token that is bound to a role that is limited to only creating certificate signing requests, and that you can hand out that token. In this case, sharing it doesn't, I don't think this has a broad security attack vector, because
that was my point, right?
You've only got the ability to create a certificate signing request. That particular token should not have the ability to do anything other than that, create CSRs. So I guess in some sense, if you wanted to try to overwhelm a hub by creating as many certificate signing requests as possible, but at that point, you'd have to rely on things like rate limiting for that API server to defend against that. Once the
but at the same time, we are losing track of who is doing that request, right?
No, I think that's true. So I think it's a good practice. I'm in agreement with you that it's a good practice.
Okay, no, that's fine.
Create a service account token for each new join, and then that way you've also got a very clean way of revoking it, right? You could revoke that Bootstrap token if you decided between the time that you issued the token and the time that before the cluster has actually used it to create a CSR, you've decided you want to revoke it. You can revoke it, and you've only handed it out to one, in theory, one external identity, right? So I think in that sense, it's better to have one token to one identity, and then you can create multiple tokens that, again, are still limited to that one basic role of, I think you can have one cluster role, and then you'd have multiple service account identities bound to that cluster role that have a token that can create service certificate signing requests. Dom, does that make sense what we're poking on, or Chujin?
Yeah, so I think the Bootstrap token is basically the similar thing. So the Bootstrap token is originally is using in the kubeadmin, so a kubeadmin command line that when you use kubeadmin command line to join a node, you can create a Bootstrap secret, which is called Bootstrap token in the kube system namespace, and then assign a certain cluster role bindings for that token to create a CSR. It's pretty the similar thing as we do here for the cluster join, that we also create a Bootstrap token and give this Bootstrap token the cluster role and cluster role binding to create a CSR. Then you can use that Bootstrap token to to join several clusters, and that Bootstrap token can also have something like expiration, that after a certain amount of time, that one it will be expired, and you need to create another new Bootstrap token for new clusters. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, that is another point. Okay, thank you, guys. I didn't expect it to be so long. I was just simply asking.
Okay.
Thanks, guy.
So what we're trying to focus, besides the technical aspect of the implementation, is we're really looking for the community feedback on what are some of the commands that they're interested in, and what will really help them to maybe initially bootstrap the open cluster management easier. And with that said, are there any other suggestions or questions regarding the cluster admin? If not, I'm gonna pivot over to something that's related to having this quick start bootstrap tool. So we're trying to we have a new PR on the community website where we're trying to modernize a little bit about the look temporarily until we get our new version of the website going. So the current implementation of the website mentioned a lot of are not too centralized around our core component, our foundation components. So we really want the focus to be more about the cluster registration, work distribution, and content placement, the foundation APIs that we wish the community to embrace. So if you have some time, please provide some feedback in this pull request. You can see this is how it looks in the mobile page, and when you click the getting started, you'll go into our current quick start, which is install the cluster manager and cluster agent using OLM. But knowing that we might have the cluster admin soon, so the cluster admin will front and center into this quick replace the content in this quick start page. So if there are any feedback you would like to provide, please head over to this pull request. I'll put the link in the BlueJeans, as well as already in the meeting notes. Are there any questions regarding the website, the quick start, the cluster admin for today? Min, do you have any suggestions or opinions or any comments? Sorry to put you on the spot. It's okay if you don't. If not, then if there are no comments, then I'm gonna wrap this up then. Thank you everyone for attending another meeting. The recording will be uploaded to YouTube shortly. Thank you very much. Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Goodbye.